Welcome back, everybody. So in this video, I wanted to try a color palette test, and I'm getting ahead of myself here. In this video, I used a lot of the primary elements, of course, and I had this color palette in my head that sort of looks like the colors on an iris. So I mixed in a little bit of that light violet into a primary elements color for my base, just for some opacity. And that was the iris petal. And then I used the Amsterdam light gold. And then I'm adding on the top the Periwinkle and the royal satin, which are both really beautiful. And I wanted to use interference gold because I put it on everything, and also by Colourarte. And that's the royal satin. It's beautiful. I also, oh no, that's not true. It's hard to tell with the lighting. That was the, what did I just say? The Periwinkle? Yeah, I just got Periwinkle and iris petal, and I get them mixed up in my head. Then, of course, some pixie dust, because it's beautiful. And then I topped it with the royal satin, and I put just a little dot of the iris petal that has a little bit of that actual acrylic paint in it. Just because under your cell activator, sometimes having something with a little bit more opacity will help you get some depth in your cells. And then I'm using a white cell activator. So obviously this is using the Bloom recipe. And then I'm using the world's smallest blower, which I think I have a link to that in the description box. So I did 2 color tests this day. One was with a white cell activator, and one was with the blue violet. So I'll work on editing that one for you. I like the blue violet one a little bit better. I think it added a little bit more depth. One thing that I found to be a little bit frustrating on this day is something was making my turner crooked. I don't know if it's the little pool has those little raised places, or if there was paint on the bottom. I mean, who knows? But every single tile I did out of all of them this day had a lot of negative space in one corner. So I just did them anyway, because the goal is not necessarily perfection. But I did notice it, and it was very frustrating. But the colors are really beautiful together. Look at that. And forgive me on the lighting in this video. I was underneath the halogen lights on the island in the kitchen, and I set up too much stuff to move them around when I figured out the lighting wasn't the greatest. But they turned out really beautiful, and once they get resined, I think they'll be really pretty. But look at the beautiful way those colors look with the gold and with the pixie dust and the interference gold. We all know by now I love me some color art, but when I was looking at the colors, I was like, man, all of these would go really well with this color palette I have in my mind. And you can see that we got some depth in our cells. So round 2, I'm going to do all 4 with you guys. I did speed it up so you won't be completely bored. The Amsterdam light gold was too thick. So what I didn't show you is the very first one I did was a total flop, and I ended up scraping it. And it was because the Amsterdam metallics mix up very thick. And my pouring medium was really mixed more for pigments. So it was already thick enough, and the tube paints made it really challenging to work with. So I ended up thinning it down with a little polycrylic, and then it worked a lot better. On the second color palette I did, I reversed the order a little bit. I actually put the gold up at the top. So underneath the blue violet cell activator, it really merges really well. So they're unique enough, even though we're pretty much using the same colors. That's what's fun about this technique, is they're unique enough where you can, move 1 or 2 things around, and it's a completely different setup. So if you haven't taken Shelley's course, there's a 15% off promo code in the description box. I definitely recommend taking it. Even if you adopt the recipe and use it for other things like swipes and various things, there's so many different ways you can use it. And I think it has really changed art quite a bit for me. Like I've said in previous videos, I learned the technique before I took the class, and I still think taking the class made a difference. And then you get to learn from other students who have done a lot of troubleshooting. Look at those beautiful cells. My camera was also being really stupid this day and doing a lot of autofocus flops. So sorry about that. So I'm kind of showing you guys up close as the middle's coming back before I spin it. But I really think these will turn out really nice. And it's different than my typical bright, bold, blue, purple, turquoise that I always pick. I'm learning to love softer colors. They're not my first preference usually, but there's something about, I'm completely out of the frame. There's something about those interference colors that really makes those pastels a lot more appealing. There's a 20% off code for everything on Colourarte's website in the description box below. I love Colourarte. I use the resin line and the paint pigment line, primary elements, and the prism pour are absolutely fabulous. If you haven't seen them or tried them, you're going to want them. They have a lot more opacity than primary elements do, so those of you who struggle when you have to mix in a tube paint or two because you don't want to give up your pretty metallics, well, now you don't have to. You can use the prism pour, and the color is amazing. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. 20% off everything. The resin line, primary elements, the pouring mediums. Leslie does make an amazing product. So it's well worth it. I will say, you know, a lot of people ask questions a lot about using pigments that haven't used them in the past. I actually find that my pigments last longer than my tubes of paint do. So I know a lot of people have questions about that. I personally find them to be, in the grand scheme of things, very affordable because they last a lot longer than tube paint for me. So, and that's another reason I like to use the bloom recipe. I feel like your paints, a little goes a long way, whether it's pigments, tube paints, whatever. A little goes a long way, and I find you don't waste as much paint as with regular acrylic pouring, which I still love, by the way. Still love regular acrylic pouring. Love the cells right in the middle there. I did blow pretty deep, so I'm kind of letting the middle come back. Sorry, my camera's acting so weird. I don't know if it was reacting to the light above it. You see that weird corner that has no friends? Like, that has to be an issue with things being level. Drove me nuts, but I wasn't willing to compromise everything just for the corner. And if you overstretch your cells, they get kind of wonky and weird. So, but yeah, I was super annoyed about that. There's something else I was going to tell you guys. I'm having a major moment. I did manage to close the gap a little bit there, so that much negative space isn't bad. But you can tell I'm still trying to even it out. I did recently get one of those foldable little doggy bath pouring pools instead of this $5 plasticky thing that bends that I got at Walmart. So I'm gonna have to check it out maybe today. And I was telling my husband it'll be great because when the paint is dry, I can fold it up and put it away. I think I am going to have to get some puppy pads for in there. But look at how pretty. I loved that one. And you can see when the light hits it a certain way that the cells did great. Sorry, my dog is back here making some obnoxious noises. I think this is the last but not least. I I appreciate you guys watching all the random things that I share with you. It's like a video diary for me, but I try to share everything with you guys. Even if it's a flop. I have a painting that I did a couple days ago that is an absolute disaster, and I was tempted to not keep it, but I'll probably end up sharing it with you. I mean, it's real bad. Really, really bad. But I learned a lot from it, and that's the point, right? That's why we practice. But it's really bad. I showed it to my husband today, and I was like, can't believe I even kept this. You know, husbands are wonderful. It's like, it's beautiful. You could do this or you could do that. But I think it's awful, and he's so nice to say that, you know. But my husband has saved many a painting from the trash. We have another market day coming up in December, and so I really need to do small things, coasters. So you'll probably see a lot of them in the near future because I need to crank out a lot of them. Now on this one you can see I blew this wrong, and the cell activator is really messed up on that back side. From your view, the top left-hand corner. So I'm trying to let it cell back up and come in the middle before I see if I can save it. It's funny with this one, usually the last one is the one that is better, but not this one. And this particular set, I think the third one was my favorite one. I think that was the one that celled up the best. So thank you for patiently waiting while we wait for this to all come back in the center. While we're waiting, I would love to see what you guys think of the color palette. Please let me know what you think in the description box below or the comments box below. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and following us and continuing to support us. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that like button and the notification bell. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you get all of the notifications. We do a lot of mixed media, so I've been practicing the bloom recipe a lot, obviously, but I do resin, tumblers, all kinds of stuff. So we're not limited to that. I'm also been trying to do, add in some more like kind of beginner techniques for acrylic pourers who are kind of new to pouring. So I've been trying to be intentional about doing that. I have some paint I need to use up, and I also have some like other coasters I need to use. So I've been trying to do that more. So I certainly appreciate your feedback, and if you have questions or things that you would like to learn more about, that would be super helpful. So I kind of know what to address. I have ideas in my head of what I want to cover with everyone, but a lot of times I just take you along for the ride on the journey with these ideas I get in my head. Anyway, this set is going to be resin finished and will be available for purchase. So if you saw these and want them, please let us know. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.